Oh my god, what the hell did you do? Did you go off-roading?
What's up, guys? So a little change of scenery today. We are in the garage, my dad's garage to be more specific. So my dad's a Volkswagen fanatic, so yeah, working on cars is kind of in my family. But there's the square body he's working on right now. As you can see, he's got several cars down the line. Those are two Carmen Gias and a Corvair under those three. But for today and the next couple days, we're gonna be working in here. So we got the 300 in here. Yeah, we made a little bit of a mess. We'll get that cleaned up, but fits pretty well on this side. We're gonna have it in here to do the suspension and the brakes, but most importantly, the reason we're here is because we need to change that drive shaft center bearing. I wanted to bring it in the garage for that specifically because we have to put the car up on 4 jack stands. I could do that in my driveway, but my driveway is not very even, not very smooth, and frankly I don't really trust it. So we're gonna bring it in here, get it up on the jack stands, and hopefully have enough room to work and everything like that. So I think I got pretty good clearance on all 4 tires for the suspension and stuff. The only one that's close is this one over here to this little wall, but we should be able to deal with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and find a good place to put the camera, and then we're gonna go ahead and start trying to get this thing up on the jack stands. Alright, so we got it all jacked up. We're going to go ahead now and try to get the drive shaft out, which is going to be kind of a pain in the butt because I just had the exhaust on, and obviously, as you 300Z owners know, the exhaust runs right over top of the drive shaft. So I'm going to try to get it out without having to remove my exhaust again, but if I have to cut it, I got to cut it. It's whatever. you can really see how bad this bearing is. I mean, there's like literally nothing left of the entire thing. So every time I was taking off, I was hearing kind of a bumping noise, and it was obviously this thing going around in here. So I got 2 bolts out of this side and 2 bolts out of this side so far. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of 5th gear and rotate the drive shaft a little bit and get the other ones out. And then all we should have to do is take out these 2 bolts right here, and this section should come out, and then we'll be good to go. I do want to say also, one thing I learned from watching another video is we got to make sure we mark this drive shaft. So I'm going to try to find some paint or something and mark where this drive shaft is attached on both sides, because these 2-piece drive shafts are balanced. So if we put it in the wrong way, we could have wobble or something like that. So we want to make sure we bolt it back in the exact way it came out. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the drive shaft and see how that goes. Get the other bolts out, and then hopefully we'll get it out before my camera dies. Alright, so we got it out. I ended up not taking the back piece of the drive shaft off because I don't think we need to. But this is what we got. There you can see this bearing good now. There's obviously not much left of it. So now we have to get this hub off the end, and gotta get this hub off the end and then get the rest of the bearing off. So we're just gonna start with getting that bolt out, which I know we're just gonna go ahead and go straight for the impact on that. So first thing you got to do though is beat this. You can see there's a notch in the bolt, so we got to beat that out with a little screwdriver, and then we're going to take an impact and see if we can get it off right here. If we can't, we might have to clamp it in the vise, and then depending on how tough it is, we might have to get the puller to pull the hub off the end. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some PB Blaster on it and let it sit with the pressure on it for a little while, and hopefully it'll break free. I'm going to let the camera charge up while I do that, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so let me show you what I got going on with this drive shaft. I got this hub piece off, but I think I actually pulled a piece of the center support bearing off with it. So I'm letting that soak. Here's our old center support bearing with the rubber all messed up. There's the other side of it. There's our drive shaft. I think the drive shaft is fine. I think that piece that came off was part of the center support bearing, so we shouldn't need that. Alright, so we got our new drive shaft bearing, center support bearing. Looks pretty nice. So from what I can see in the video that I took already, this raised portion of the bearing goes towards the front, which is up there. So it's going to be going on like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to lube up all these areas, and then we're going to put this on here. And then we're probably going to get something that's the same size as that metal in there and kind of tap this guy on. And then this guy goes right on here like that. And then we put our bolt back in and tighten that over. And then we should be ready to reinstall.
First of all, the paint I put on here, on where the attachment was, rubbed off on one side. There's some marks on the drive shaft already. So learn from my mistake, guys. There's a line. I marked this piece, and the paint rubbed off one side. So what's happening is, though, this only bolts together two ways. So the bolt patterns are not an exact square. There is marks on the drive shaft. So there's one there, and there's one right there. But the problem is, I can no longer get those to line up exactly, because when I put this hub back on, I didn't line it up. This mark doesn't line up with the mark that's on the drive shaft. So that sucks. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this back off and fix that, because I don't want the drive shaft to wobble when I put it back on. So stay tuned. Learn from my mistake. Be back shortly. All right, guys, we're back in business.
So, drive shaft center support bearing is done. All I got to do is torque up the bolts, and we're good to go. So, as you can see now, not much play at all. Rubber looks good. Everything's holding in place. So hopefully that'll get rid of my clunking and, you know, hopefully drive a lot smoother now. So, all good to go. So again, learn from my mistake. You can see that all these lines line up now. I did go back in my original video and verify that that's the way it was before. So we should be good to go now. Just remember, when you take your drive shaft off, or if you replace your center bearing, make sure you mark the rear drive shaft section, the plate, because that comes off too, and then your front drive shaft, and make sure they all line it up together again. All right, that'll be it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one.